To Clydesdale Media. Fueled by C4, Cellucor, and Extend. Use the code Clydesdale to get 20% off at checkout at c4energy.com. On Clydesdale Media, where we bring you the widest array of content here on our YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notifier so you're first to know when new episodes are available. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Clydesdale Media Podcast. My name is Scott Schweitzer. I'm the Clydesdale. She is one of my favorite people in the world, Alex Gazan. Alex, how are you?
Thank you. Good. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a minute since we've talked, so I'm excited to catch up on everything, Alex, that's gone on in the last several months. And first and foremost, happy anniversary. Today is your anniversary.
Thank you. Yes, 3 years today.
3 whole years. Do you still feel like you're in the honeymoon phase?
Comes and goes. I'm just kidding. No, it's been really good. Really good.
Yeah. It's funny because Jake is easy to find at events because he's pretty tall. And in the CrossFit world, he's really tall.
Yeah, for sure.
And at Wodapalooza, he and I got stuck trying to get out of Bayfront or into Bayfront. Can't even remember which direction we were going. Got kind of stuck. He was trying to take pictures, was trying to get moving around. I was trying to move around. It was just pure chaos. And we got to talk for like 30 seconds just because we were stuck there together.
Good.
Which was awesome.
Yeah, I'm curious how they're gonna move forward because I feel like they really outgrew that space.
It was so bad last year. I hate saying that because I love the fact that there's so many people there. Like that's a good thing for CrossFit that there are so many people. But man, there are a lot of frustrations associated with that. And from a media perspective,
it's like, I don't know if they just need to like. I don't think you can really expand just because of the event, like the area, but it definitely felt like people were really upset that they weren't able to actually see events. If they like, you had to be there for like 4 hours if you wanted to see an event. So that was kind of like frustrating.
Sunday was bad. Yeah, Kat and I basically just planted at the main place where the finals were. We were there for like 6 hours.
Yeah, like if you have to pee, you give up your spot. If you need water, you give up your spot. Yeah,
it's really bad. But I understand their problem too, because you don't want to move away from that iconic location with all the events like right there on the water, and it's a great little park. So yeah, I empathize with them tremendously. And the media areas got smaller and smaller. Like they put VIPs in the media area because they didn't have enough room for them in the stands.
Yeah, that's
so
wild.
It was just crazy. But we're going to get to that in a second. What I want to talk about is your improvement from last year to this year. First and foremost, how cool is it that your name is correct on the leaderboard this year?
Sorry, say that one more time. You cut out just a little bit.
How cool is it that your name is correct on the leaderboard this year?
Oh, it's nice. It feels good. Mainly too, just because people will be like, "Where are you? Like, I don't see you," and I'm like, "I'm there." You just like don't recognize my name. So it's nice, and I think Jake really appreciates it too. So,
yeah, I'm sure. When I went back to look at your last year numbers, you're still under Willis on last year's leaderboard. I hope they have them linked together and you're getting credit for all of that stuff on your world rankings and everything like that. Cause I know there's been some confusion with that. People getting married halfway through and not getting credit for all their points. Does
that happen? You don't get credit?
So, I think you froze for a second. Hopefully you'll come back in here, with Jesse Smith, who married Chandler Smith in the off season. her points did not link from her old account to her new account.
Mm,
And it actually threw off the numbers of people from the West who get to go to the games.
mm,
And they fixed it. And now the West, instead of getting 9 for the women, they're getting 10.
gotcha.
So that's how big of a swing it made by her getting her points right. Was it
Yeah.
improved you guys getting one extra spot to the games?
Wow, that's great.
So, and it was just because she got married and her name changed from last season to this season.
Yeah.
So, but you last year in quarterfinals finished 29th in the world, which very impressive in really kind of your rookie campaign. And then this year you move all the way up to 9th, top 10 in the world. And when I look at your West numbers, actually, when we look at your worldwide numbers, you were very consistent other than your home run, which was
Thank
event 3.
Yeah.
Like every number was like within 5 of each other.
Mhm. Thank you.
Is that something you're striving for?
Yeah, I mean, I think every athlete wants to be consistent because you can never control the programming. So, like, you never want to rely on lucky workouts or wheelhouse workouts. So, the idea is to not have like a wheelhouse. You want to be good at everything. But of course, like, there are going to be events that I favor or prefer, and I think that there was a couple of those in quarterfinals that suited me really well. Um, but yeah, I was really happy with the consistency across the board, both in the open and quarterfinals, just like realizing there wasn't one big hole that completely like you look and you're like, okay, like that's what I need to fix.
Yeah. And going into semis, if I break it down by the West only, all of your finishes were in the top 10 except for the first workout. And it was still 13th.
Hmm.
So that is a consistency that if you're looking at semifinals, get you to the games.
Thank you. Yeah.
So there was a lot of new stuff thrown at you this year. Were you and the underdogs team prepared for all that?
I'll start with the handstand push-up stuff. I am so thankful that the handstand push-ups are seeming to head in the direction of not kipping and mostly strict. I mean, we could still see kipping maybe later on, but I don't imagine that we'll just get basic kipping handstand push-ups anymore. Like maybe we'll do kipping deficit or parallettes. Um, but I love strict handstand push-ups. I really dislike kipping, mainly because I'm just not that great at it. Like for me, I pretty much do strict with a little leg kick. Like it's not very efficient. And of course, that's something I've been working on, but still, I just don't enjoy them. So, love the direction of the handstand push-ups. The jump rope, like I was actually talking to my friend Alex about this the other day, and like a perspective to encourage like the fancy tricks is that in CrossFit we do other sports at a really high level. So, for example, like a snatch and a clean and jerk, like you can be strong, but you have to have really good technique. Um, and there's athletes that practice and practice and practice this technique to be good at Olympic weightlifting, even though CrossFit is not known for like, or it's not only Olympic weightlifting. So in the same sense, like jump roping is its own sport outside of CrossFit, and gymnastics is its own sport outside of CrossFit, and we just like take elements of each sport and do them. So it's kind of cool to like have more party trick elements that like anyone can do if you put the time in, and maybe have the right rope, but it just takes some time to adjust.
What about the V-ups?
I was shocked by those. I definitely wasn't expecting to see them. Um, I'm not gonna lie, they were hard. um, I wish I could have practiced them a little more just because I think it is something of like knowing your body and knowing how fast you can go, or um, knowing how big a sets you can do. I ended up doing like quick singles. So I'd like touch my toes, like splat on the ground, touch my toes, splat on the ground. And I'm a pretty good rower, and I feel like I was like getting off the rower pretty fast relative to the girls I was doing the workout with, but like Scuds just smashed the V up, so she would like make up all of her time there. So I definitely need to work on them, but I didn't mind seeing something new like that. I think then you just run into a little bit of a gray area maybe with like judging or standards, and I don't love that. But at the end of the day, like if you're good, you're going to be good. Like I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's my only beef with all this stuff is coming from because my background is judging. I mean, that's
Mhm.
where I started as a judge. And I think if you have elite judges, then all this is fine.
Yeah.
But when you're throwing it at people in the affiliates to
Mhm.
figure this stuff out, it's just too much
Yeah,
all
I
at
think
once.
many variables with the V ups, like feet needed to be together, and a like an incidental knee bend or like a soft knee bend is okay as long as your toes are above your head. But then you had people like bend and snapping when your like legs are supposed to remain straight once they're off the floor. Just like there was a lot of variability. So um I think at the end of the day it's not going to affect the leaderboard enough. Like I think even if people get away with bad V ups, like it is what it is. But yeah, I agree. I don't love subjective judging.
We're following a handful of athletes through the whole season, and one of those is Carolyn Prevost. And I asked her, why is the V up needed when we have like toes to bar? And she
Mhm.
said, what you don't realize is you don't get a kip, you don't get to use your lats as much, and it is isolating right to the core.
Mhm.
And it really does make a difference.
Mhm. Yeah. No,
Did
they
you
were
did
hard.
you notice that?
They were not easy. Like especially round 2, like I was like, "Oh no, like I got to get back to the rower," and I just felt like my core was toast. So, I think they're awesome. I think I just now it's going to be something that you throw it into your training to actually practice, but it was good.
Yeah. So we have a couple interesting questions here from the audience. The first one is just a compliment. Alex gives me hair envy.
Thank you.
Um, and then Elise also asks, I know she's mentioned liking bench, but what is a skill or move that she loves that people may not know?
Mm. I don't know if people don't know this, but like I love anything super like brute strength related. So like I love like a power clean. Um I like rowing. I like heavy wall balls. I love the new standard that we're throwing to the 10. I know a lot of girls will hate me for that, but I like it. Um yeah, I don't know. I like muscle ups. I like anything higher like higher skill. Heavier and high skill.
I think it is indicative of the athlete you've become when your list is that long.
I like pretty much everything but simple workouts. And we're working on liking those, but like give me like a 12-minute AMRAP of a light thruster bar, like 65, bar facing burpees, and like chest to bar, and I'm dying. Like that's like the stuff I need to work on is just like that simple, like just go.
Yeah. Where you've got to shut off the mind and just
hmm Like
go dark.
if
Those are,
all of a sudden the thrusters are like 95 or like 105, then I kind of like inch myself back into the field, but I'm still working on just that like turn it off and go mode.
so I want to hit on one more thing in quarterfinals before we
hmm
kind of move on to some other things. And that is I'm going to pull up your Instagram
hmm
because and I thought it was described beautifully as the most casual event 3 ever. I'm going to try to blow this up. There we go. Yeah, you just look like you're chilling and put up one of the best times in the world. What's going through your head during this workout?
Um, so when we before we started the workout, we had saw I think the Buttery Bros like posted Danny Spiegel's time, and it was like 3:42. Um, and usually when you like see anything that Danny does, especially with the barbell, I don't want to say it seems untouchable, but you're kind of like, yeah, like she's got it. Like if anyone's going to win this workout, it's her. But also, like, I love these movements. And Justin was like, if anyone beats Danny, like, I'll take you to a steak dinner. And it was kind of like a joke, like, but also like, all right, like, let's just go for it. I had no idea what to expect. We had heard from a few people that people were like failing jerks and that it got really nasty really quick. And so I think I actually started maybe a little too conservative. Like, if you watch my whole video, my last 5 clean and jerks are faster than my sets of 2 and 3. So like my last 9 were faster than my first, I guess it was 6. Burpees stayed the same. I don't think I would have changed anything there, but I just didn't want to get to a failure point. And then by the end, I was like, oh, like, this is good. And I didn't know what the time was. I didn't look at the clock once. And then I looked and Justin was giving me like the let's fucking go. So I was like, oh shit, like I did well. But mid workout, I had no clue like the trajectory of my time. I was kind of just zoning out.
Yeah. So you ended with 348 on the last rep. So all these like 1 through 4, it is immediately from the clean right into the jerk.
Mm-hmm.
On the last rep, did you catch it wrong, or just were you like, I want to make sure that I finish this?
I was noticing that like my leg drive was getting a little tapped into, and I wanted to like pick up the bar right away. Like I didn't want to wait, but I didn't want to go for the jerk and miss it. So I just paused for a second.
Yeah. Yeah. It didn't look like you had trouble with that jerk either.
Thank you.
Yeah. We actually, my gym programmed this workout this week.
Oh,
So
fun.
I
I
got
thought it
the
was really fun.
opportunity to do this.
Yeah, I thought it was a
Um,
really fun workout.
I was surprised how much it hurt. Um,
Yeah.
and I am not an elite athlete by any stretch of the means, but I would say my last 5 clean and jerks were faster too. And I probably was kicking myself going like, you could have done this. Like, you're strong enough to do this. Why are you? But I
Yeah.
was actually, burpees are what are hard for me.
Yeah.
So for me, I was up against our time cap and so I had to finish the 5, forced into it. And then I never missed anything.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think like that workout is definitely a fine line of you could go out really fast and lose your power output for the end. Um, or if you go too slow, there's not really any room to make it up towards the end. Like you're just riding that line. So it was a fun one. I would do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. It looked beautiful when you did it. It's still
Thank
running
you.
on my other screen. I
Thank
need
you.
to back out to just stop distracting me. There we go. So with that, I want to talk a little bit about your off season. So you kind of stayed quiet. You did Zalos, but that was really the only individual big time comp you did in the off
Mhm.
season. You did Wadapalooza as a team, which I want to get into a little bit. Was that a concerted effort to focus more on training than competitions this year?
Yes, like yes and no. Like when the games ended, um, and like I was in like the actual off season, I guess, like we were taking that time off. Um, I ended up like getting my wisdom teeth out, and I just had a lot of stuff going on, and um, I felt like I lost my fitness so fast, or like I just didn't feel mentally in it, just because of the circumstances. And so when like the road qualifiers started and the Dubai qualifiers, I just didn't feel like I was in a place to do well. Or just in a place to go at that intensity. I remember specifically like laying in bed with Jake, and I was like, oh, like road qualifiers start tomorrow. Like, I don't feel good or fit, but like if the workouts are like fun, then maybe I'll do it. And like the first one was like the 20-minute AMRAP of, I want to say it was like box step ups and deadlifts and bar muscle ups. And I was like, that will trash me. Like I haven't picked up a barbell in so long. And so I decided not to do any of the qualifiers. And Zalos was a really easy choice. Like there was really no reason not to. It was in our home turf. Jared really organized it well. Like, he made it a really good opportunity to earn money for the athletes, and there's no stress, there's nothing on the line. Like, if you do well, awesome. If you do bad, no one cares. Like, it's the very beginning of the season. Or I guess the season hasn't technically even started yet. And so that was just like a really good opportunity to like be in competition mode with no stress. And then Wadapalooza, Justin gave us the choice, or he told me I could do one or the other. So I could do individual or team. And knowing that Kari was like on the road to like being done for good. Like, I know she retired individually, but just being done with training at a consistent, intense level. I didn't want to miss the opportunity to get to compete with her. And that's like something that I would have like dreamed about a few years ago. And so it just seemed like something not to pass up. And it ended up being really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, we got a chance to talk to Kari at Wadapalooza on the podcast stage there, where she put to bed all the rumors of her ever coming back, basically squashed those right away. How much you get to spend a lot of time with her because she's kind of just around the gym. And it was highlighted in the Morning Chalk Up article earlier this week, your relationship. How much, when you first met her, did it start as fangirl and turn into something else, or were you always cool with her?
That's a really good question, and I think this is going to highlight Kari's personality really well. I have texts like from my best friend back home, like the first day I was going to, at the time they were training at Culmination, and I remember like walking in the gym, and I had like texted my friend. I was like, "Oh my gosh, like Kari's here, like they're all here. I'm so nervous, like oh my gosh." And I remember texting her and like sitting there, like, "Oh, like what do I do?" So like there was definitely a huge like fangirl moment. But immediately Kari's like talking to you and like asking about yourself and your family and your like interests and hobbies, and she just made it really like a two-way street really fast. So it never felt like I was this little puppy dog following around like the big dog, you know, like she made me feel very included, which I definitely like noticed right away and appreciated. Just that like she had a really like humbleness about her, at the same time like a confidence. Like it was just like a really good balance of the both things. And so I'd say we were always like cool. Like I felt like we were always like friends, and that relationship just kind of developed over time. Like I trained with her a while for Rogue, because I think Bethany and Danielle were still taking time off or training in other places for a bit. And so I trained a lot with Kari for a little bit, just us. And I think that like was kind of the start of our friendship, just having all that time where it was just us doing workouts together, even though she whooped my butt every single one. Like she was still so like, good job, like come back tomorrow. Or and then of course like over the past year and a half, 2 years, like she's really just like, how can I help you? Like, let's chat before the games. Let's talk about things you need to know that I didn't know going into them. And just really offering me things that she doesn't have to, but just very sweet.
It seemed very clear in some of her quotes in that article that she just wants the best for you.
Yeah.
And to have that in your corner seems to be just like a gold nugget, that you have this probably the greatest American female CrossFitter of all time in your corner wanting you to succeed.
Yeah. No, it's very sweet. And like accomplishments aside, like even if Kari wasn't the fittest American female, or like even if she wasn't fame wise like who she was, like her as a person, still having her in my corner, like that's what matters to me. Like the fact that she does actually care, and like it's just a very sweet thing. There's Jake. Do you want to say hi? Hi. Jake says hi. He just walked in.
Hey Jake.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good.
Good. I want to talk about your other teammate as well. You
Mhm.
brought on Ariel Lowen as your
Mhm.
third teammate. She actually came on my birthday show
Oh,
to celebrate my
awesome.
birthday with me, and we talked about when Wadapalooza hadn't even started yet. Just
Mhm.
when she came out to Vegas and trained with you, and
Yeah.
how much she fell in love with you as a friend and as an athlete. Um, what was that like to kind of team up with her? And now you are the two top seeds in the West.
Oh my gosh, we were joking that if Kari was still competing, that our team, the Humble Killers, would have swept the quarterfinals podium for the West. But yeah, I first like kind of got to know Ariel at the games. Her and like Danny Spiegel kind of took me under their wings. Like when you walk up to the bleachers, like you don't know where to sit for briefing. Like they're like, "Come over here," and like they kind of just let me follow them around like a puppy dog, which was really nice. Um, and I like joked around and I called them my moms over the weekend because like they were like, "Alex, like come do this." Like Danny's like, "Come ice bath with us." Like all this stuff, and I just really like grew to love Ariel's humbleness and just like who she was as a person. Obviously, she's a phenomenal athlete, but also her personality. And um, Kari and I were like talking about Wadapalooza, and we were like thinking about a third. And Ariel had reached out to Kari to ask if Kari wanted to be on a team with her and Danny. But Kari was loyal and was like, "Well, I want to be on a team with Alex," and I think Danny wanted to go individual anyway. So it worked out really well, and it was honestly so fun. Like being with a group of girls that wanted to work really hard and like we're all hard on ourselves. Like we all want to give our best, but also like encourage one another. Like if someone were to make a mistake or need a break or whatever, like it was like okay, like 3 seconds and then like let's go, like you got it. And it was just a really good atmosphere and a good time.
So this question is about your faith.
Mhm.
We've talked in the past about how faithful of a person you are,
Mhm.
and you grew up with in a way that a lot of us would not be envious of. But in your life, God has put people in your life, especially in the CrossFit world, at
Mhm.
times like Reagan Huckabee when you were in high school, and then you meet Carrie Pierce, and then Ariel drops into your life. Do you
Mhm.
ever sit back and think, "My goodness, God, like you are you are filling my path with all of these amazingly strong women to help me become a better person."
Mhm. Oh my gosh, all the time. Like, um, it's hard. Like, you don't know what the future is going to look like in your life. Like, you can plan everything, and things can go differently, for the better or the worse. And uh, it's hard to see it in the moment, but then you reflect back, and you're like, wow, like God really orchestrated all that really beautifully. Um, but you don't really realize it's happening at the time. So yeah, it's wild and like I'm just always like, okay, like what's next, God? Like I'm here, and I think just reflecting on that and just being thankful, and yeah, it's been really really exciting.
So, one of the hardest concepts to be a Christian is to give everything up to God
Mhm.
and not to worry yourself. You have a big season in front of you, right? And you're getting better. When How hard is it to not get stressed about that and to give that up to God?
To be honest, like I think I might have talked to you about this or I've talked to someone about it, but I think what helped me be successful bridging the gap between the teenage division and the adult division is um, a couple of people at the gym back in Oregon, Karen and Reagan and Bill, and just like a lot of people there. They really encouraged me to like think bigger. So when I was trying to qualify as a teen, they're like, awesome, like if you do, like cool, but just take your time, like have fun, and just like eventually you're gonna make it to the games. Like that's what they told me. And I think having that just patience and like keeping the love for the sport first and having fun kind of took the pressure off. Oh, I need to make the games this year, or oh, I need to make top 5 this year. So like my first semifinal, I was just like on cloud 9 that I made West Coast Classic, and then that training year, I was like, yeah, like I'd like to do better. Obviously, like I don't want to regress or stay the same. So like as long as I do better in semifinals, then like I'm happy because I'm making progress, and I ended up making the games. And so I think the same like mindset is still being applied. Like I want to do better at the games, and obviously like you want to place top 10, you want to have these accomplishments, but I don't want to put a timeline on myself because I don't want to burn out mentally or physically. Like I don't want to feel like, oh, you need to go do more in the gym, you need to, all you can think about is CrossFit, and before you know it, a year goes by and you hate it, and you're beat up and you're injured. And that was a long answer to your question, but
No,
yeah.
it's perfect.
So yeah, like I obviously want to do better. Like Justin and I have like made some goals, like as far as where we want to finish in the games. But at the end of the day, as long as I know that I'm putting in the work and I'm still loving the sport and loving what I'm doing, the rest will fall into place. And like it makes it really easy to trust God in that situation because I'm just living life. Like I'm not idolizing the leaderboard because it doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, like no one cares about you. I'll use Kari as an example. Like I don't care about Kari because she got on the podium. Like yes, that's amazing, and it gives her all this knowledge and experience to learn from, but that's not why I admire her. Or Justin is incredibly what would the word be when like you have a lot of like accomplishments? Like he's a very well, he has a very good resume as a coach. I guess that's like
Yes.
a good,
There you go.
but that's not the only reason why I like him as my coach. Like it's his passion, it's his like care for us as athletes, and like so yeah, I don't know. I feel like God's just kind of one step at a time, and whatever's meant to be will happen.
So I have to ask, what if you're willing to share, what was the
Yeah.
best piece of advice that Kari gave you going into the games last year?
Yeah. And this is a good one for any people that make the games for the first time this year as well. And it's really simple. She said, well, there's two things. And I can't remember if this one might have been from someone else, but one piece of advice I got was bring food everywhere. So like have a back and have snacks and have meals and have water, because you don't know when you're going to be corralled. You don't know if you're going to get to go back to your bag after an event. You don't know, like, you just don't know where and what's happening. And then this one was from Kari, this second piece. Because you don't know what's happening and things switch all the time, it's really easy to get frustrated or overwhelmed, or you might have to go to briefing at 5 a.m. and you really don't want to go at 5 a.m. Because there's no reason to, or they hold you for 2 hours after this event because there's a crowd or whatever it is. And her piece of advice was don't let it bother you, because you're already expending so much adrenaline and your cortisol levels are already so high. So if you can remain calm and just like go with the flow, you're already so far ahead of everybody else. And that was a really good piece of advice, because there was like early briefings and there was times where you're like waiting 2 hours to size your GHD or your yoke or whatever it is. So really just staying calm. And she was like, don't get sucked into social media. Like if you need to turn your phone off, turn it off. Um, it was mainly just like big picture things that she was like talking about, but they were really helpful.
So I know Ariel pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
She talked to me about how there are two groups of people backstage. There are
Mm-hmm.
the people that are very quiet and want to stay to themselves and think about everything that they have to accomplish. And there's another group that like to talk and about everything that's going on in the day and stay loose. I picture you as that stay loose kind of person. And
Very
so
much.
another place where God jumped in and said, I'm going to let Danny and Ariel put her under her wing, their wing, because this is what she needs during the games.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah, I don't do well with the like everyone head down, like not talking. Oh, yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah. So I think that that's really cool when just in retrospect and talking to you and knowing all these people, how it all kind of came out. So I want to talk about the changed underdogs, and not really like big change, but that some new people have come into the fold there.
Mm-hmm.
And really, like, you're almost the veteran. I mean, other than Allison,
Mm-hmm.
you're kind of the veteran now. You've been there the longest, and there's some new people coming in. What has that dynamic shift been like for you?
Um, Honestly, like it's just been very smooth, so it hasn't really felt like a big change or anything. Um, as far as like we have a lot of new girls, which is awesome. So like Carson Wolf moved here, Elena Buds, Skylar, Ava, Laurie. So there's like five new girls. Laurie's obviously really good. Like she made the games, I think, a couple years ago, and she's a really good gymnast. So like that brings another element of like getting pushed. And Elena Buds is also really fit. She's so sneaky fit. She just has that. She has that go that I was talking about. Like all of a sudden you're like, wow, she just lapped me. Like she's so fit. Um, but honestly, just like everyone's so nice, and like I think the environment that is it is just like all the girls are there for each other, and um,
Uh-oh.
and
I
or
think
whatever it
we hit a
is.
bad cell for a second. Okay. There you are.
Yeah, there will just be like days where like maybe we're crying and we're tired, and we like I feel like we all do a good job of lifting each other up, and um, it's a good environment, very very good.
Yeah, I was devastated for Elena this year. We've been following her from last year's semis forward, and just so bummed that she made that move. She was getting so fit, you could just see it, and
Yeah.
then to have the knee injury to end her season was a bummer.
Oh my
But
god.
she'll be back stronger next year.
Yeah, and she's like going back to athlete versus person. She's like sunshine in human form, and like um always has a smile on her face. Like even when this happened, like obviously you might see her like cry a little bit because it's sad, and it's okay to be sad, and it's okay to like be frustrated that your season like ended unexpectedly and you have this injury and people around you are training. But even still, like she embraced the adversity so well, and just like constantly like still encourages us training, like good job guys. Like she came to quarterfinals and was there for the workouts, and I know how hard that would be for me to watch, knowing that's where I wanted to be, and for her to do that and like sacrifice maybe a little bit of like her emotions to be able to support us. And I don't know, she's just really incredible. So if you hear this, Elena, we love you.
Yeah. Yeah, she's the best. We always love having her on too. Your description of her is so perfect.
Yeah.
Like sunshine in human form. That is her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So are you still coaching?
I do. I coach a kids class now. Still at the gym. They're like 6 to like 10-year-olds. So it's like a kids like class. We play a lot of games, just kind of introducing them to fitness. Um, I stepped away from my night classes just because um, it was getting kind of late, and it's really hard to wind down coming home at like 8:45. So stepped away from that. I'm coaching a kids class. I still have a couple like one-on-one clients, some nutrition clients, and I think I will always want to stay involved in like the community outside of competing. So I enjoy it.
Do you ever see yourself down the road being a coach of elite athletes like a Justin?
Who was I talking to? I was talking to someone. Like I think that'd be so fun, and obviously like I have a lot to learn in that category as far as coaching other people, but I would love that. I think it'd be a blast. And um, I know how much I value Justin and Kiefer, and how much like I love them and how important they are to me. And I think to be that role in someone else's life would be really special.
Yeah, very cool. I want to finish up with just a couple fun things, and that is, what is the best thing you did this off season that had nothing to do with CrossFit?
Um, I guess it was right before the Open, so I guess it still counts as the off season. I went to Kauai and fell so in love with it. Like I could move there tomorrow if I didn't have obligations here. Fell in love with the island, like the community. That was probably my favorite thing I've done this year. So.
And was that with like the Quali Foundation? Did I say that right?
I didn't go originally like knowing all those people. But another God thing, like the first day that I dropped into the gym, I met a guy named Jackson and his wife Bella, who are mine and Jake's age, and they're a huge part of the kids foundation. Like they run the kids classes, and we ended up becoming good friends, and like we got to go to some barbecues with them, and just kind of like it felt like family so fast. It was awesome. So I already booked my trip back. I'm gonna go for the trail run in September.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on my bucket list for sure.
Oh man, even like yes, Hawaii is beautiful, but just the environment is so good.
Yeah, and what they do for those kids it's just a great organization.
It's awesome. The kids are so cool too. Like I went and helped judge the first open workout, the rowing one, and these kids are rowing barefoot, just like crushing this workout. It was awesome.
Yeah. So with Jake, is he still working part-time in California? And do
Yes.
you guys still have to do that like long distance thing for parts of the year?
Yes, so that was why I was late this morning. um, to leave on Monday to head down for the season, but I guess it was raining and stuff, so they wouldn't be able to start work. So they postponed that, excuse me, until Monday. So he'll be leaving soon, and that will probably last until about August again, or a little bit through August. Gets harder every year to leave, but once we go through the adjusting period, like we just get into a groove.
And you guys try to get back and forth to each other as much as possible during that time, right?
Yeah, like it gets hard just because for him to travel back here over the weekend and then make it back for the work week, like it's really exhausting for him because his work is all physical, and um, it's easier for me to go there, but then I also have to sacrifice like a weekend with having a coach and having my training partners. So we just try to make it work as much as possible, but also being realistic about what's doable.
So Jake he was taking pictures at Wadapalooza. Is
Mm-hmm.
that like a hobby of his or something he is passionate about, or just because his wife is like a rock star, he wants to do that?
Yeah, it's kind of new. For a long time we were trying to figure out how to navigate our relationship in competitions. Like I felt obligated to entertain him. Not because he made me feel that way. I just felt that way, like out of my own nature. Um, and he also felt like I was very like to myself kind of thing. And that like got a lot better over time. Like I think even at the games and at semifinals last year, like we did a really good job of supporting each other in the ways that we needed to. But we were like, wow, like taking pictures would be so fun. And like it kind of just started as an idea. But then we realized like, A, it would give him something really fun to do while I'm competing, especially if he didn't have any friends like at a certain venue. B, like it could turn into a financial opportunity in the future. Or like if I have sponsors that need to hire a photographer for content, like they could just hire him, and kind of a bit of like for fun, but also like potential opportunity situation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very cool. I may actually be looking for a photographer in Pasadena.
Yeah,
Just
well,
saying.
keep him in your back pocket.
I can't remember what else I was going to ask you now. Oh my gosh. Anyway, there's a lot of comments that I want to make you aware of. A lot of fans of yours in the comments talking about how people want you to succeed and all of that. And Elise said that I'd live in Hawaii too. If it wasn't for having our kids close to grandkids, it's paradise.
Yep, I agree, Elise.
But Soccer Mom is a huge fan of yours. Want her to go far in the sport of CrossFit.
Thank you.
Yeah, just tons of fans giving their well wishes to you as
Thank you for
a
having
person and an athlete.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's always fun having you. And I'm sorry I talked over you.
Oh, no. My bad. But yeah, anytime. I'm pretty flexible, so just let me know.
Yeah, well, we'll see you in Pasadena.
Yeah.
You're in that last heat, which is where you needed to be going into that. You've got some friends in that last heat, so you'll be able to hang out in the corral.
Yep.
Which
I'll
is
get
cool.
next to my competition mom.
Yeah. And with that, everybody, thank you so much for jumping on with us. Thank you, Alex, for being here. And we'll see everybody next time on the Clydesdale Media Podcast.